I want to bring in Florida Congressman, House Armed Services Committee member, and former Green Beret Commander Michael Waltz. Michael, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, first off, Bagram Air Base. We were there for 20 years. And basically, the Afghani government is saying that they got no notice. They couldn't get in there fast enough. And we've got now reports that the base was looted overnight because the Americans left in the middle of the night. Can you explain what's going on there?
Yeah, the base, which is the major air base that every serviceman and women entered when it first came into Afghanistan. The last thing that they saw when they left was the hub, the key component of our involvement in Afghanistan the last 20 years, closed with barely a whimper by the Biden administration. And it's critical in many ways. You know, the Taliban is on the march right now. They have the momentum. And without our air power in the region, I expect that to continue. And the intelligence community and the U.S. military has been very clear that they expect al-Qaeda and ISIS to be on the march, to come surging back in the wake of that Taliban advance. So I think we're going to see a repeat of what we saw when Obama pulled out of Iraq too soon, without really a plan to keep a lid on things there and to keep stability there. And that led to, as we now know, ISIS, the caliphate, the size of Indiana, attacks across Europe, inspired attacks in the United States. This terrorism problem is going to follow us home. And the Biden administration doesn't have a plan for a continued counterterrorism presence, to protect women, or to protect our local allies, the Afghan interpreters that have fought with us and now have a bullseye on their backs. It's going to lead to absolute chaos in the region, sadly, after so much blood and treasure that we've sacrificed.
So you're telling me that after the billions of dollars we've spent over the last 20 years and the thousands of American lives that have been lost in that region, that there's another civil war coming?
That's right. There's another civil war. And in the wake of that chaos, terrorism, half the world's terrorist organizations exist in that Afghan-Pakistani border region. It will come roaring back. And our intelligence is clear. They do intend to attack the West again. So we're going to be right back to 2001, except the difference with Iraq is we don't have any other bases in the region. We don't have Israel and the Gulf states and Turkey. We have nothing. We have China, Russia, Iran, and Pakistan. So our special operators that have to go back in are going to have to do so with no bases and no local allies. And that means a loss of more American soldiers. That's why we argued to keep a small presence there going forward, to train the Afghan army. They're the ones out there doing the fighting, but they need our support and they need our air power.
And the Biden administration obviously ignored those pleas from you and from your colleagues. And then what about the Taliban? Because they've now got a new source of income. They're seizing that trade gateway that goes into Tajikistan. Right. They're collecting customs revenues. That's that's in the Journal this morning. I mean, do you expect to see more of this amid this troop withdrawal, that this is not going to be a money-making operation for the Taliban that we've created?
No, that's absolutely right. They're going to seize on some of the roads, the bridges, the other infrastructure that we've helped put in place. And then that's also what China is looking at. You know, China has long eyed having that corridor from Central Asia to its western provinces. And importantly, when I was in the Pentagon, I helped commission a survey from the U.S. Geological Survey Society that showed there's over $1 trillion of rare earths there, of critical minerals. One of the world's largest reserves of lithium that powers batteries for everything, including a renewable economy and a green economy. One of the largest copper reserves, natural gas, chromite, and all kinds of other critical minerals. That's what China has its eye on, plus having that gateway into Central Asia with the oil and gas reserves that you'll find there. And we've just walked away from all of it.
Unbelievable. It was Steve Forbes. Get in here. I mean, this just 20 years, and this is where we're at, Steve.
It is shameful, and it really tells the world the U.S. is not really interested in global security. Congressman, I wanted two things. One, a micro question. Is the U.S. government going to really bring our interpreters out of Afghanistan, the people who've worked with us, who you say have the target, the bullseye on their backs? Are we just going to abandon them, as happened in Vietnam when we had a precipitous withdrawal? This is a withdrawal we're doing on our own. We're not being forced out, and that's going to make trouble in the future. And the other is General Mark Milley. Is he just a political general who isn't up to the task of having a real strategy to protect our strategic interests around the world, just plays to the political winds? I know that's a blunt question, but the guy certainly has been a disappointment.
Excuse me, Steve. Yeah, but on the interpreters, look, it's worth noting that Senator Biden in 1975, that's how long he's been around, did not support the evacuation of the South Vietnamese. In fact, he voted against it in a key committee. And so the Pentagon has said they're ready to get these people out. The governor of Guam has said he's ready to accept them to a third party so we can finish the extensive vetting that goes on. This has bipartisan support in the House and the Senate, Republican and Democrat, particularly us veterans who have served alongside these people who fought with us. And if anybody deserves to come to the United States, they do. It's all sitting at the White House right now, but the silence is deafening. And meanwhile, these people are literally being hunted down as we speak, as the Taliban march across the country.
Isn't there like 9,000 of them,
shameful.
Congressman?
I'm sorry?
I think there's, 9,000 interpreters?
That's right.
That
There's
right?
9,000 interpreters and then 9,000 other people that, I mean, there's far more than that, but that at least are in the vetting system. These are journalists, teachers, principals. 25% of the Afghan parliament are set aside for women. These are people who publicly took a stand against extremism. And, they don't just put their lives on the line, their entire family's lives on the line. And I've lost some that were literally taken back to their villages and beheaded. And what message does that send around the world? And who are we going to have to work with if we have to go back, like the intelligence community is predicting? So it's a moral obligation. It's a national security obligation. And it all sits with Joe Biden right now. And he's doing nothing.
Congressman, we're going to have you back to talk about General Milley. I know we didn't get a chance. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms we can't even go into right now. I agree with Steve. I don't know what he's doing right now. Congressman Michael Waltz, great to have you here, sir.
All right. See you soon.